Hi everybody, this is Heather. I am back with another process video. This is of my daughter and her friend ice skating, and I am working with an old collection from Fancy Pants. I believe it is called Timber Grove, and I think it is about 3 or 4 years old. And if you have been watching my videos, you know I am on a mission to use my stash. So I pulled out just this collection and maybe a few little embellishments in my stash, but for the most part I use just this collection, and I am proud. I've mentioned previously that I am trying to limit what I pull out to work on a layout because it gets really overwhelming and time consuming to put a layout together with too much to choose from. So right now you're watching me paint a cut file that I cut with my silhouette. I actually cut it a while back, planning to use it for some photos I was scrapping of my daughter's Frozen themed birthday party, and didn't end up using it. And I started out with a couple of my shimmers, and I believe they were both blings. And if you've ever used shimmers, the watercolors are the colors are beautiful and they have this really gorgeous shimmer to them, but the blings don't really have a lot of pigment in them, and I wanted it to have some color to it. So I reached for one of the sprays, and this is called Blushing Bride, and I love this color because it is like a dark pinkish red color, but it has a lot of gold shimmer in it, which you can see just from the scratch paper. There's also I think it's an Inklings that is called Gosh Garnet, which is very similar. Those two are my favorites. And I'm also using the shimmers. I don't recall what the name is. It's 49er something. I apologize. If you'd like to know the specific name, just leave me a comment below and I will definitely get back to you. And I put down some white gesso on my background page, and I'm using the Gosh Garnet to add some color to it. And I know that the cut file that I lay on it is similar in color, but the way that I laid it down, it still stands out, and it's hard to tell from a photo. It kind of blends in, but in real life, from the video point of view, it's hard to see a difference. But in real life, it still stands out because it's not glued down flat, so you can still see the edges and it has some texture to it. So there it is on my background, and I matted the photos with a couple of the sheets of pattern paper, and I also layer it with quite a bit of the ephemera. There was a package of tags that you see on the right and frames, and I tried to include as many embellishments as I could just for the sake of using it up. Within reason, of course. I used a couple of those frames like I mentioned and layered some of the embellishments in and around. I use this collection primarily because the colors in the photos matched really well to the colors in the collection. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to use some of this stash. I took some of those tags and layered them on the left, and I realized that a lot of the tag part isn't actually seen, but I was using them primarily for the color to layer. And the frame that I wanted to layer behind the top photo had a phrase, and I apologize, it's off screen, but it said something about home, and that didn't really work out for my layout. So this collection came with a 6x12 sheet of cardstock sticker strips. They're maybe about a 1/2 inch by 12 inches long. So I just took one of those and layered it over that sentiment that was on the frame. The photos and this page, it really doesn't have a really significant story behind it. It's just another day that we were out, and I am choosing to just cherish these kind of days, and because my daughter is 9, and I realize that in a couple or few years she's not going to want to do a lot with me, and that's just how things go. I understand. So even though there wasn't really a big story behind this, I just wanted to document the time that we spent together. And my daughter's friend was with us, and that didn't bother me. She's a sweet girl, and we enjoy having her along with us. And I think everything is more fun to my daughter when she has a friend along. And she's not the best ice skater, and her friend is much better, and you can see them holding hands because her friend is very patient and very kind to help, even though I've explained that if my daughter goes down, she's going to pull her friend down with her, but luckily there were no accidents. And what you're seeing me do now is I'm struggling with laying this down, but the kit or this collection came with a package of pieces that were made to create your own snowmen, like just paper pieces, and they had these little mittens in it. And I know a lot of the newer collections have this type of embellishment already created, not necessarily with string or twine attached to it, but I figured that it would look really cute with my own twine with it. So I created the set of the blue ones, which I did off camera, not intentionally. It just, my hands were not in the view of the camera. And so the burgundy or dark red ones, I intentionally just showed that I was wrapping the top of them with the twine and hanging them from the cut file, like the swooshes. I'm not sure what you would call them, but it almost reminds me of the movie Frozen, where Elsa is singing the Let It Go song, and when the snow and stuff come out of her hands. Anyway, so now that I'm looking at it, though, the blue ones probably would have looked better on the right hand side because I have that little blue embellishment on the top left corner of the photo, but it's done. It was glued down. So I think for the most part, though, I scattered the colors around pretty well. That flare is part of this collection. And on the right, you see a bunch of little snowflakes. Those are chipboard snowflakes. And this collection came with a bunch of those and some buttons. And I really just layered them up, 2 or 3 on top, and scattered them about the page so I could use them and get them out of my stash. In the spirit of 2018, I have mentioned that I am trying to change my ways, not necessarily what I scrapbook or how, but just the products that I use. I'm no longer trying to think too much about how much I use on a layout or if I'm wasting something because it's layered and you can't really see it. I'm just making the page. I'm making it how I like it. And that's really what it's about, right? Just makes you happy and you like the way that it looks. And I am happy with the way that this looks. I wouldn't say that it's one of my all-time favorite layouts, but I got some pictures documented and some of my stash use. So that is part of my goal. I layered some gold thread behind my flare button, which, if you can tell, I'm not sure that you can, but the flare that come with this collection, they're actually bigger than what most of the flare buttons available are now. It almost seems a little too big, but it's still cute. And the stickers that you see there, those are actually from Pretty Little Studio. I've used them on several of my most recent layouts just because they work so well. they're clear, so they would work with any color scheme. But I primarily pulled it out because it had the cute little ice skate sticker on it, but I don't end up using it because I do have that little ticket stub, I guess, layered to the right, and that actually came off a roll of tickets. This collection came with them, which I think a lot of their collections came with a roll, and they actually tear just like tickets do, which I thought was kind of a cute idea. And there's actually two of those layered together. The one below it says ticket, and that says fun times. So at this point, I'm procrastinating, messing with the edges, because I'm debating about the title. I have had those stickers where it says to go for quite some time. I'm sure most people would recognize them. I believe they were from maybe some American Crafts collection. Forgive me, I don't recall what the name of it was, but I've had them for quite some time, and for the life of me have not been able to include them in a title. I don't know. I have in past searched like on Pinterest for inspiration for titles, and I didn't do that for this one, but I figured that I could make it work. They're not necessarily going anywhere, but they are on the move. So it's sort of an abstract take on it, but I make it work, and I'm happy with it. I pull out some small letter stickers here soon, but before, there they are. But before, I was adding some more of my shimmers, some splatters, and then a little bit more down below, because as we all have experienced, once you add your embellishments and photos to a layout, a lot of that gets covered up. So I just wanted to add a little bit more down to the bottom so it looked a little bit more balanced. So right now you see me adding little letter stickers, and I don't include all of it in the video because it took me quite some time. Places to go, that's what it ended up as. I added some journaling and some sequins, and that is my layout. I really appreciate you checking out my video. I hope it gave you some sort of inspiration. I really appreciate the support, and hit like and subscribe, and I will be back soon with another video. Thanks so much. Have a great day.